Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. So glad you could join us. Today we're taking out the Moines, the Tier 10 US cruiser. So let's go over our build here. We use, for modules, main armaments 1. I use AA range for my second module. Between that and the captain talent, I get a 7.2 range on my AA. 7.2 kilometers. You could take the accuracy if you're going to ignore AA. That would perfectly be fine. For the third module, I take the range upgrade. With the current meta, I think it's a better choice than the rate of fire. For the fourth, I take damage control, faster ruddership for the fifth, just to help you torpedo beat a bit better. You could take the propulsion module. I like the ruddership better. And of course, for the final, concealment. For consumables, all premium. You're tier 10. Why are you trying to make a profit at tier 10? Let's go to captain build. First, I will take priority target. Second, I will take adrenaline rush because it's an awesome ability. Superintendent. And then finally, concealment. After you have more points than that, I go to advanced firing training to get that 7.2 kilometer AA range. I take jack of all trades for faster radar and whatnot. When I get some more points on this captain, maybe demolition expert, maybe vigilance. I'm debating between them. And for the final point, I would take preventative maintenance just to keep your guns more survivable. So, jumping into the game. So I spawn on the far east side of this map, and I'm right directly above sea, and my knee-jerk reaction was, oh, well, I'm tier 10, I'm the high tier, I can go cap that by myself. However, the Des Moines is a great support ship, and I buffed my AA, there's a tier 9 CV on the enemy team. I'm going to move closer to my team and support. I also have radar that can help my DDs out. I have fantastic guns that the closer range I am, the better they are. It was very tempting to go up, but I'm just going to play the team game. So I'm heading straight to the west, trying to get as close as possible. You can see on the mini-map that I have my AA range bubble visible, just so I can see who I'm actually covering and when I can pop my defensive AA to sufficiently defend teammates. This is one of the few ships that actually keep that AA bubble turned on just for that reason. Take a quick look around. These two back here are kind of derping and looking like they want to camp, and I've got some DDs that are trying to push up into Bravo, and I'm already seeing that the enemy CV is harassing those DDs, so let's go in there and try and give them a hand. So we start turning in. There's a Lo Yang. Alright, I haven't seen any other ships yet, though. No cruisers or battleships, so I'm kind of hesitant to push too far into here. However, I do have priority target, and for that brief moment that I was spotted by the planes, and even now, there's nobody actually targeting me, so I'm just about in range. And alright, fire off my defensive AA, and you can't see it in the replay, but I'm manually selecting these bomber groups one at a time so that I can kill them before they drop their ordnance, or at the very least reduce their numbers enough that they're not effective. Now that all the bombers are down and you can see how fast I'm shredding all these planes, then I select the fighters manually. That way my AA is not being wasted by firing at fighter groups when there's incoming attack groups, and that's why you hold the control button down that makes your mouse visible, and you click manually on the enemy planes. Our DD just did lay a smoke screen not too long ago, so I'm going to move up into there. I still have not seen any enemy capital ships. Did pop radar, so there's a Yugamo. He is coming around the corner, and I have HE loaded. Missed with my opening shot, but he is slowing to the crawl. I don't know if... yeah, he probably realizes now that he's spotted by radar. I only have a few more seconds left, but let's see what kind of damage we got. Now, he is broadside at us like that, so we can expect torpedoes, and in fact, there went the first set. I know for a fact that the Yugamo has 2 sets, so where's the second set? Just waiting. Oh, there it is, coming straight at us. Okay, let's hit reverse. Looks like we're going to avoid those. Unfortunately, our teammate didn't. He didn't have really enough time to react, and that's unfortunate for him. You know, the only thing he probably could have done different is not sail around in his own smoke. He probably would have spotted those torpedoes a lot sooner. However, there's the Yugamo. My radar is down. I still have not seen any capital ships. I know he's fired his torps. It's time to move in for the kill. This should only take 1 or 2 salvos. Almost. Alright, next one. Shells in the... And I get... No. Kill sniped. You know, whatever. Let's just keep moving. So we know that Lo Yang is right around the corner right there behind this island. My radar is down, and I am being targeted by something, and that's what's targeting me as an Amagi, and that's bad business, except that he's firing HE at me. So I'm going to work on the assumption that Amagi back there just had HE loaded because he thought he was going to be firing it at destroyers and didn't want to, you know, clear his barrels. Alright, fair enough. There's Lo Yang. He's broadside. Torps are going to be coming in. I cut my engines and turn in. There goes the first set. And there goes the second set. He's now fired his torpedoes. I'm safe. He can't do anything to me. So, kick in the engines full throttle. Maintain good angling against this Amagi, who is still firing HE at me. So, really, angling isn't going to do me anything. Other than it does make me a slightly smaller target. And as you can see there, no hits. I did catch him on fire, and he just put it out. So he put out the very first fire. He's firing HE at me. He's roughly in, I think he's got citizenship in Potato Land. He may even be a member of their Congress. We're going to wrap around the corner. Radar is back up. We fire it up. Finish off the Lo Yang. There we finally get our first kill. Now, I could stop firing and try and drop off detection. However, the Amagi is too close. My stealth detection range is 10.6, and the Amagi is well within that. So there's no point in me just holding fire and waiting to drop off. So, thus far, I have not been given any reason to be afraid of this Amagi, so I'm just going to flat out charge him, especially considering he's giving me broadside. I did get one more fire on him, and immediately I switch over to AP. Because, and if you watch Flamu's videos, he likes to call this super heavy AP. And every salvo, I'm doing something in the ballpark of 5 to 8k damage to this battleship. See, he finally switches to AP, fires at me an even angle. It took about a fourth of my life. I am taking a little bit of fire from the side, but I don't have time for that. I need to finish off this Amagi before he can really mess me up. This should do it. He has incoming shells. Yeah, okay, not too bad. Enemy Des Moines. Firing HE at me. Showing full broadside. And as Jingles would say, that's a paddling. And we're just going to oblige him. And there's 2 citadels. And there's 2 more. And he's just like, yeah, no, I don't feel like angling, bro. It's just like... Thank you for all this free damage. I don't know what he was doing. Alright, kill number 3. And we're up to 113,000 damage already. Great, fantastic. So we've got a long journey ahead of us to catch back up to the battle, so we'll skip ahead. We regained a lot of life in the process as well, which was nice. Here we have a Yamato coming around the corner. The Des Moines does have a very slight little zone of stealth fire, so we'll get some shots off. He's angling in, and so I'm just going to spam HE at him. Plus we have other teammates that are doing the same. So let's see if we can get ourselves a little Yamato barbecue going on. Plus we have our Shimakaze that's dead ahead of me, and I can already see that he's got that glint in his eyes. He wants this Yamato. He hasn't been spotted for quite some time, I don't think. So you know that torpedoes are going to be going in. So I'm desperately like, please, let's get another fire on this guy and force him to damage control, so that when all those Shimakaze torps hit, and there they go, that he can't repair the flooding. And that will deal with the Yamato, because as much as I like the damage that I'm getting right now, those 18-inch guns really scare the crap out of me. And we got the fire that we wanted, and absolutely it made him use his damage control. He's now invincible. Get one more shot before we get behind the island. Get a fire, and yep, it's stuck. So He is not on immunity anymore, and he is just about to take some torpedoes. There's 1, 2 that I saw. He's dead. He's got to at least have flooding because he took those on the nose. So we're just going to ignore him from this point on. We got Donskoy, who did not notice I was over there. Switched to AP, fired his broadside, Citadel City. You cannot give broadside to a Des Moines. It will tear you up. He is angling now. I'm going to switch over to HE and see if we can secure this kill. Okay, we got a Zao and a New Orleans that are also showing up to join this little party. Let's see, they're both really low. Yeah, the New Orleans is very, very low. We're going to switch to AP and start working on that. There's our kill number 4, and man, it's like a smorgasbord of broadsides here. The Zao is the bigger danger, however the New Orleans is the easier kill. And as soon as I started firing at the Zao, the New Orleans was like, oh, well, it must be okay to show my broadside again. And it's not. It's really, really not. There's my Kraken and high caliber. I will take that. Now we're just going to try and chase down this Zao. God, these Zaos have just the most trolly armor ever. He was sailing full broadside. I was getting decent hits, like well aimed, and I cannot citadel these things. I've had easier time dealing with battleships than Zaos, especially when they do this whole thing where they're just running away and weaving back and forth, and they're not particularly dangerous because they can't get there. They have very slow rotating guns, but damn, it takes forever to kill them this way. It's just one of those like, bro, just die. Just shh, don't make this awkward. let's just end this now. And there he drops, finally. And the game ends shortly after that. So how did we do? We got 600,000 credits, 12,000 experience, 2,400 free XP. We got Confederate, Dreadnought, Kraken, high caliber, 164,000 damage. Damn fine round. 3,156 base XP. Very, very solid performance, as always with the Des Moines. Very even spread. It's surprising that the largest chunk of my damage came from against a battleship, and almost all that was AP. Hope you enjoyed the replay, guys. It was a blast playing. We'll see you next time.